Fire Emblem Engage is one of the weirdest entries in the franchise, but that ends up being a good thing. While it takes a step back in the story department compared to Three Houses, it more than makes up for it with its excellent map design, unique engage mechanic, and fun cast of characters. And speaking of which, why don't we just start there first? Now, like other modern Fire Emblem titles, you'll begin the game by choosing either the male or female version of the main character named Alir here. As for the story proper, you've been awoken after a 1,000-year slumber, and you're the Divine Dragon. You've been revered by your people, and people have been watching over you for 1,000 years. In fact, you even have a fan club. And this is perfect timing as the Fell Dragon you vanquished 1,000 years ago is being revived. And your new mission is to collect the 12 emblem rings and stop the evil force from being resurrected. Now, what are the emblem rings? Well, they hold the power to summon heroes from other realms and possess great power, or in other words, they're protagonists from past Fire Emblem games. Now, as a quick aside, you don't need to have played the other games to understand what's going on here. They don't really reference the games these characters are from. However, if you're curious, I have a full series retrospective that covers every single game that I'll link down below. Now, I'll say that the story isn't bad, it's just a little generic. Especially compared to Three Houses, it's not nearly as compelling, although it does have its compelling moments. It has a more jokey, lighthearted tone to it. To give you a taste of what I'm talking about, here's just one instance where you're introduced to a new character.
Oh, right. I skipped over the niceties. You can call me Yunaka. Hiya, Papaya.
Hiya, Papaya?
Huh. I've never heard that one before.
The game does border on being cringy, but somehow comes full circle and becomes fun. It's almost like watching a Saturday morning cartoon. Sure, there are stakes, but you know that the good guys are going to win in the end. Now, here's one thing I did like. They made the main character voiced, not silent. In Awakening, Fates, and Three Houses, they were all silent, but here, I think that comes in handy, especially with conversations. You actually hear them talking to other characters instead of being weirdly silent, and it feels like it gives them more depth. What the game lacks in a strong main story, it more than makes up for in fun character conversations. Every character in their performance is so over the top and fun to experience. And for those that are concerned, there are S-tier support ranks later in the game, so don't worry, you'll be able to give your favorite waifu or husbando a ring. Fire Emblem Engage retains the turn-based tactical combat the series is known for. When battles begin, you're allowed to set up and see the whole map and choose your squad. Now, your squad will go first in whatever order you want. It's not like one character goes after one specific character. And what I love is that all the information you need to make the best decisions possible are right there at your fingertips, whether it be enemy movement range, if you move and then they can hit you when you do move, and things like that. And even when you initiate combat, the combat damage and the hit percentage is all right there as well. Simply put, if you lose, it's all on you. Now, each character has their own strength and weakness, including the enemies, and exploiting those is key to victory. The weapon triangle makes a return, where swords beat axes, axes beat lances, and lances beat swords. Of course, there are other weaknesses throughout the game, like magic being strong against heavy armored characters and bows against flying characters. So making sure you keep track of this all in your head is super key to victory. Now, the X factor in combat is the new gimmick, the engage mechanic. In the game, characters can be equipped with emblem rings. This gives characters statistical boosts, and you'll be paired up with a specific character. When paired up, normal attacks will do more damage, and you can even do extra attacks. Now, when you're engaged, you essentially meld two characters into one powerful one. Here, you'll unlock new powerful abilities, and you'll just do tons more damage. For example, Celica can warp across the map and do big damage when she teleports. Marth can do a flurry of powerful hits, and Sigurd has increased movement and can blast through a straight line of enemies. Now, you can only be engaged for 3 turns at a time, and once that's over, you'll need to refill a meter. Now, I found that in my time playing, I could only engage twice at most per battle with any one character, so it didn't feel too overpowered. And to me, I also really like this mechanic. It's a great way to pay homage to past games and also adds a fun wrinkle to combat. And the other nice thing is that this is totally optional, so if you find the game too easy or if you just want a challenge, you don't have to engage with this mechanic at all. Now, for me, I played on casual hard mode, and I found that this was a nice balance of challenging and fun. Also, if you mess up and want to try something again, there is a rewind feature. Now, you could abuse this into oblivion and just get the perfect battle, but I found myself using it only a few times per battle, and mainly it was to retry high hit percentages that somehow miss, or if I had a dumb positioning mistake that I wanted to reverse. I also found that the map design here was absolutely excellent. To me, Three Houses maps felt simplistic and a little boring. Here, these seem much more thoughtfully designed. You can't just rush on, head in with your most powerful characters. You have to thoughtfully think about how you want to position everybody. And the other neat thing is that maps often split your team up, and so you'll need to really think think on how you want to split up, who wants to go on each side, and things like that. A few other features that make a return from past games are destructible terrain and fog of war. Destructible terrain allows you to approach fights in a variety of different ways and get the sneak up on an enemy force. And fog of war forces you to be more careful, as you won't be able to see around every bend until you get kind of close. Something neat that they added here in Engage was the ability to explore maps after the battles are complete. And yes, it's the actual full map, not just a stripped down version. Here you can find ingredients for cooking, items for crafting, animals for your farm back at your base, as well as conversations with your teammates. Now this was nothing mind-blowing, but another cool way to feel more immersed in the world. And overall, I just thought the maps were really well designed and I enjoyed them. I love when strategy RPGs present a challenging map that makes me really think of a good strategy. And to me, there's nothing quite as satisfying as pulling off that good strategy to a success. And in that regard, Engage succeeds. Now, one last thing about the combat and maps is the world map. Yes, it makes a return and you can walk around and fight extra battles if you want to. This is cool because it also gives a better scale of the world as a whole. Now, when you're not in combat, you'll be spending a lot of time in the Somnial, your home base. Here you can buy items and new weapons, improve equipment, bond with your team, and tons more. This felt very similar to Garreg Mach Monastery from Three Houses. Now, they did add quite a few new additions. One is a ring chamber. Here's where all your rings are stored, and you can inherit skills from emblem characters, and you can even polish them to improve bonds with them. This is sort of a strange mechanic, but helpful nonetheless. There's also a little training battle arena where you can do up to 3 training battles in between missions to get extra experience points. You can also increase bonds with your emblems here as well, so you can unlock new skills and abilities. There's also a training hub where you can do little mini-game workouts for minor stat boosts in your next battle. And lastly, there's a clothing boutique where you can change outfits for your characters as they walk around the Somnial. And another thing that's kind of funny is you can actually set up little photo shoots with your characters and put them in whatever outfits and poses you want. This doesn't really do anything specifically, but kind of a fun feature nonetheless. Overall, I like the Somnial. It was a cool way to interact with my team and get some reprieve after each battle. That said, I felt like I was fiddling around in menus way too often. After every battle, I felt the need to polish rings, check bonds, and train every single time. After the first dozen or so chapters, it started to feel a little tedious. And it feels especially taxing because the loading times in the ring chamber and the battle arenas are so long. In that respect, I enjoy Three Houses much more as it felt more organic. I could do my side activities at my leisure and I had more time to partake in them as well. Whereas I felt like with Engage, I needed to tick all the boxes of all the things I needed to do back at the Somnial. It felt like more of a chore list instead of a fun mechanic. From a presentational standpoint, Engage does a lot of neat things. For one, it has a brand new visual style, and here it's a little bit more cutesy. Characters have bigger eyes and rounder faces. And for the character designs, it's a good mix of traditional designs and something that I would call more experimental, not the least of which being the main character. And also each character has exaggerated movements that really bring out their personality and gives them life. And overall, I like this look better because it's really crisp. If you compare this to Three Houses, there's a lot of aliasing and jagged edges in Three Houses, especially with the characters, and here they seem to have cleaned that up. And now, I'm not a developer by any means, but I feel like they used a couple visual tricks to make this happen. If you notice in a lot of the story segments, it feels like the characters are just standing in front of static images and not 3D environments. So in that respect, I feel like they were able to save on memory and render the characters in a much crisper way. Now, the trade-off is that those in-game cutscenes are a little bit less cinematic. However, there are plenty of rendered cinematic cutscenes. This new visual style makes for a more overall lighthearted tone, in total contrast to Three Houses' darker tone. Again, I personally loved it. I feel like it helps emphasize the character designs much more. And I know not everyone likes this new style, which I totally understand. And the music is something else, especially that song in the opening movie. Most of the music just felt forgettable to me. There are almost no standout tracks here, which is a shame compared to past Fire Emblem games, which are full of memorable pieces of music. While not the strongest outing the series has seen, Fire Emblem Engage is still an excellent game. Its fantastic map design, unique engage mechanic, and crisp visual style work really well together. I wasn't a fan of how much I had to fiddle around with menus, and the tone borders on being cringy at times, but neither truly hold the game back from being enjoyable. If you're a fan of Fire Emblem or strategy RPGs in general, then this is a game well worth your time. Now, if you're coming in new here and don't know the entire history behind all the Emblem heroes, definitely check out my complete Fire Emblem series retrospective right here. And special thanks to Reset Switch and Tyler Kuzawa over on Patreon for helping make videos like this possible. If you'd like to support me and get cool perks, consider becoming a patron over on patreon.com/thegamingshelf. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.